Like that, I'm going to prison. That in that video negated my entire defense, and I'm just sitting there like I'm going to prison. The jury went in the back, deliberated, came back guilty. So when it comes, you ask me how I feel about public defenders. I could have won my trial. I don't know what they promised my public defenders. I don't know what promotion. I don't know what corner office. I don't know what you scratch my back, I scratch your back. I don't know what happened between them and the state. But my public defender convincing me to show that video, pull the jury back out and show that video is why I went to prison. And that public defender knew what he was doing. Without a shadow of a doubt, you knew what you was doing. And what's so crazy is because you have so many people who like, the justice system and this and that. And it's like, until you go through the system and you see how they will go out of their way to violate every constitutional right you think you have, you do not understand. Because how could you do that to my life? No regard for what was happening to me. You knew what you was doing, and they violated my rights on every chance they got because I would not testify against my co-defendant.
So let me ask you another question. Let me back up a little bit. Because I feel like I'm going to have to do 2 parts of this. I'm going to have to come fly back to Jacksonville and figure this out. All right. So had your co-defendant already had their trial and then you were doing your trial? Whose trial was first?
He didn't have a trial. The trafficking was dropped against him because the vehicle was, of course, in my name. The car was so happy to drive. The vehicle was in my name. So because he didn't own up to it and I wouldn't say it was his, they defaulted and gave me the charge. And back to when we were on the scene and I told you they had him back towards the other police cars, the drugs, like some of the drugs was in the jacket that he had on. And when I was in the front and like, I guess when he seen them pick up the jacket, because some of the drugs was in there, and he was like, babe, you got your jacket? Like, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So fast forward back. He had no charges against him. The only thing he had was that VOP. So he ended up signing and going to prison. He ended up signing for 13 years. 10 of them was mandatory.
Okay, so you get the guilty. Man, this is breaking my heart. This is breaking my heart. This is breaking my heart. You probably got your mom feeling a certain type of way and all of that. Okay, so what were you facing? Because I'm assuming that it's a difference between what it is that they gave you as far as sentencing and what you were facing. What were you facing from a sentencing perspective? Okay,
so anytime you lose trial, your sentencing is based off of how the judge feel. The judge has all discretion. They have a guidelines. Your minimum is 7. Your max is 30. That is literally
what? You almost made me curse, and I know you're a God-fearing woman. You almost made me curse.
It slips out sometimes for me too.
7 to what?
7 to 30. 30 was my max. So when it comes to sentencing, the judge has free reign to sentence you to anywhere from 7 to 30. Mm-hmm.
What were you thinking? Like, what was your mind at that time?
So up until this point, I never remember how you asked me how I felt about. I never thought I was going to prison until they showed that footage, and then that was the first moment out of all of that where I was like, I'm going to prison. So when they found me guilty, because it was my first time being convicted of a felony, they have to take you through something that's called a PSI. It's a pre-sentence investigation. So you get the chance to show character witnesses, have people come speak on your behalf, so that they can see you outside of the charge. They can see you as a person, people to come talk about the type of person you was. So I lost trial March 13th, 2012. I didn't end up getting sentenced until May 7th. So there was a few months. Now, before I went to prison, I was like very apathetic. Like, I didn't believe in crime. Like, I was like, what crime gonna do? Like, it ain't gonna make a big difference. So like, I was always like, I don't care about nothing. Like, I ain't have no feelings. The day I lost my trial, I cried for 4 hours straight. And when I tell you, because I was like, in the county, I was angry. I had so much going on. So I was like hell on wheels. Like, I'm talking about, I cussed out every person worked in there, from the captains on down. Like, I was in confinement. It got to the point where they gave me so many DRs that they stopped writing them. Like, when I would act out, they would just take me downstairs to booking, let me cool off, and take me back upstairs. They stopped writing me infractions because they was like, it's just not doing anything for her. And it was so bad, they had this counselor that I had to talk to. He used to come and pull me out my cell and like talk to me and stuff. So when I lost my trial, instead of taking me back upstairs, I was crying so bad. They took me into booking. So the booking cells is probably the size of this table. It's real small, and booking is very, very dirty. So I was like crying. So I was sitting on the ground, and like I had my back up against like the seat, and I can't make you understand the type of cry it was. Like, it was like a my soul broke cry. And mind you, I've terrorized this entire jail, okay? Everybody from booking on upstairs. But when I came through and I lost my trial, and the way that I was crying, like, you could see the sympathy on every single officer's face as I walked by. Like, they felt so bad for me. And I gave these people hell. But so I'm in the cell in booking, and I'm crying, and then the counselor that they had for me, just a big guy, I'm talking about like 6'4", big black guy. And he comes, they let him in the holding cell, and this man sits on the floor, this big man in his little cell, he sits on the floor with me while I cry those whole 4 hours, and just didn't say anything. I just cried because I was just so, my soul, like, I knew I was going to prison. And the waiting part from March 13th to May 7th, because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. So like most of the time when you go to trial, the judge maxes you out for wasting their time.
Just like that. I mean, you're a person though.
Those are just numbers to them. Those are just numbers to them. They don't understand how it feels. They'll tell you like, I know how long 30 years is, or I know how long 15 years is. 15 years here and 15 years in prison has a different length to it. And everybody's like, oh, you know, she gonna max you out. Like, you know what I'm saying? You lucky if you get 25. Like, so I really thought I was gonna get like 20, 25 years when I went to, when I got sentenced.
You was mentally prepared to get that.
Yep, because I heard it so much, and they're like, man, you know, you went to trial, you lost. Like, you lucky if you get 25.
So you go to sentencing, and they say 10 years.
And the day I went to sentencing, my mom was in jail, so she was upstairs. And,
Whoa. Wait, what?
She was not in the courthouse when I got sentenced. She was upstairs where I was. I was in like cell 8, and I think she was in 5.
Okay, I'm missing something. What the heck is going on here?
She had a marijuana possession. She did like a couple days and went home.
So she was in jail while you was getting sentenced. Jesus.
Yeah, she came through.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you didn't really have no support at that particular time then either. You just going through it.